one of the things that's really different about the Cortona program, one is the relationship I think that we have with the city of Cortona. Of course, it's a very long relationship. In the summer of 2019, it'll be 50 years, 50 consecutive years that we've been running programs here in Cortona.
We all had an adventurous spirit from day one, and but you know that's what it started with.
The founder of this program, Jack Kehoe, used to say when he was searching for a place to operate a program that he wanted to initiate, that he wanted to find a place where the program and the professors and the students could really learn from and take advantage of Italy's most important cultural asset, and that was its people. He had the vision to start a Studio of Fine Arts Studies Abroad program, and he wanted to do that in Italy.
The first year wasn't necessarily the official first year of it because a lot of people don't know, as far as the history, that the idea my father had went against what the norm was at that time with some of these abroad programs and other large schools like UGA. Texas had a program in Florence, and there's programs in Rome and all of that. And he spent 6 months traveling around by himself looking for something different.
He narrowed it down actually to 3 cities. One was Orvieto, that you've had the chance to see, and one was Montepulciano, which you can actually see from here. It's directly across the Val di Chiana, and Cortona.
He was real close to picking Orvieto, and he happened to see Cortona up on the hill. He drove up here and met with some of the city officials who said yes to everything.
The municipality and individuals that were here in Cortona saw the potential for that kind of a relationship between the University of Georgia and the city of Cortona.
He later found out that they freaked out after he left because they were like, how are we going to do this? We have no idea. But when he went back to UGA and said, okay, Cortona is where, and then they were like, where, what? And that first year they said, well, you're on your own. We can't support that. That's not going to work. And he said, fine. And so it was like maybe 12 students, my dad, and then he had a studio in Rome near Piazza Navona back in when he was really getting into art, and he had a friendship with an Italian painter, and he reached out to him and said, look, I can't pay you, but you want to teach these students, I can give you room and board and all of that. And his name was Angelo Morcani, a great guy, and he said, yeah.
Yeah, Jack really had a pretty amazing vision.
And it quickly gained a reputation of this is real different, something real special, and we need to get involved, and including the University of Georgia. Oh yeah, this is I was buying this from day one.
The Cortona program does have something that's different, that's unique, and it has to do really with that connection with the community and the connection with the city of Cortona.
A local kid here that grew up and got that urge to explore and see the world, and came to America and actually enrolled in the University of Georgia, got a degree, and now is a professor at the University of Georgia in Italian language. I know in the 80s there was a big push with the sister city, Athens and Cortona. The mayors were involved, and they sent each other. The mayor of Athens would send a peach tree, and the mayor of Cortona would send an olive tree. And I think they're both still planted and obviously much more mature now.
In conversations with Cortonese or even people from the area, I've heard Cortona called much more cosmopolitan than other cities. And I guess what they mean by cosmopolitan is that there's more recognition of different cultures and different ways of doing things. It's sort of mitigating a myopic sort of perspective on life and incorporating those other influences into the city, which is not necessarily that common if you're a small, Italian hill town.
They've ridden the wave of the changes in America that have gone on since the 1970s. It used to be, and I know that was something my dad really pushed, was a kind of entwining of the Cortonese and the students, and really pushing to get out there and making the students get out of their comfort zone. Okay, you don't need to know the Italian language perfectly, okay? They'll figure it out. Y'all will help each other. Even to the extent of there used to be Saturday morning art classes for the local kids.
Basically, anybody who's under 50 doesn't know Cortona without the UGA program.
After I came back from Europe, 1981, it was the first time that I hugged my dad, because after being in Italy, you know, everybody was embracing, and then all of a sudden my dad, who rarely showed any emotion, we hugged, and you know, it changed a lot. He's a big hugger now. Everybody he sees, he enjoys that part. So the culture, the variety of art history, you know, you're immersed in it here, so you can't miss it. I've been back 8 times since 1981. I brought my wife back for a honeymoon, and then several times since then, and it's been a very nice place to come back to.
It offers a kind of a smaller city life, so you really get to kind of integrate or communicate and sort of connect and engage with the community in a different way than you would a larger city. That a lot of times allows students to kind of dip beneath the cultural surface. You know, it's not just sort of you're in a place visiting and you're bouncing along the surface. You really get to kind of see what day-to-day life is like. We do have access to places like the larger cities in Rome and in Florence, and so we see some of the treasures, the sites, monuments, churches, museums, and those kind of places.
And I'll go ahead and say it. The reason we're both here right now is Ken is buying the apartment that my family's had.
I'm very excited. It feels like a second home for the longest time. Now it's going to be my first home.
It touched me personally. It influenced just about every aspect of my life and the man I became, the father I became, the husband I became, and all of that. It's funny too, because it's like when I was younger and with my older sister, you know, we used to hate. It was like, I gotta go to Italy again. You know, we wanted to like stay and swim in the same pool every day with our friends. You know, I mean, because that was the world back then. And as I got older, it was like, wow, how fortunate was I? Because I could. You know, when I was 13, Dad was assigning a group of students to me to get them to the hotel in Venice or take them through the Uffizi. I knew, you know, Italian cities like the back of my hand and all of that, and I just kind of took so much kind of for granted.
The thing that's interesting to me is to try to find the way to still connect with the community, connect with the people, and connect with the Cortonese in a valuable way. In an age that is, you know, the technology is really different. I think the tendency for students to kind of leave a foot in the States by staying connected all the time is really different. Communication is a huge thing. I mean, even when I was a student, there were phone connections were not easy. You had to go to a phone booth, you know, that was around town. Those don't even exist anymore. We didn't have internet here when I was a student. Writing, I guess snail mail or writing still takes a long time, but those kind of things really do sort of impact the experience to a certain degree. But I'm really interested in, you know, how we can try to provide the students with what they need in terms of resources and technology, but also try to encourage them to leave certain modes of communication behind, at least to a certain extent.
Come down the hill. I mean, that's what I would say. You know?
Explore more.
Explore, step out of that comfort zone. It is, you know, you're nervous when whoa, I'm going to have a conversation with this Italian, and what do I say? You know, go with the flow, you know, because the more you do it, the more it's going to influence not only, you know, who you are and your confidence, but I've seen it so many times it influences and a lot of times changes the artist that you become, and the way you view your craft and your passion. Because, I mean, I'm a big believer the good stuff's found outside the comfort zone. You know, the comfort zone is born. And, you know, even though it's such an honor, and the Keough Center named it for my father and all that, he'd be the first one to tell you that he wishes that, you know, there was a rule that you had to come into town a certain amount of it, because that's where you're going to really find you're going to find some real treasures. It was, but we had a great time.
We did.